We all know this guy. Buy my day trading course and I will make you millions by day trading. Yeah, the guy who won't shut up about Fibonacci retracements that'll make you bank in the stock market.
Let's go gambling! I can't stop winning! I can't stop winning! I can't stop winning!
The guy who insists the market moves in patterns right before losing half his paycheck trading options.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
Well, here's the thing. That magic Fibonacci sequence didn't come from Wall Street. It came from a teenager in medieval Algeria. For those that are new here, I'm looking at the niche story of every nation from A to Z, and we are currently on installment number 3, Algeria. If you're interested in this sort of content, be sure to like and subscribe, as well as check out my previous videos on Albania and Afghanistan. Today, we will be discussing Leonardo of Pisa, better known as Fibonacci, and how his childhood and studies in modern-day Algeria turned him into one of the most important mathematicians in history. Let's get the basics out of the way first. Fibonacci was born in the 12th century in Pisa, Italy. Yes, the city with the leaning tower. His actual name was Leonardo Pisano Bigolo, with Bigolo roughly translating to either traveler or good for nothing.
I know who I am! I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude! What?
Not exactly the branding you'd expect for the guy who shaped Western mathematics, but true nonetheless. His father, Guglielmo Bonacci, was a merchant and customs official working for the Tuscans in Béjaïa, today known as Béjaïa, a bustling Mediterranean port in modern-day Algeria. Think of Béjaïa as a commercial hub where Arab, Berber, and European merchants constantly exchanged goods and ideas. It was here, in North Africa, the young Fibonacci got his real education. Before we follow Leonardo back to Pisa, quick origin story. Béjaïa wasn't just any port. In the late 11th century, it rose as a Hamidid capital. The city was so well known for its wax trade that the French word for candle was inspired by it, bougie. By the time Fibonacci was born, Béjaïa was part of the Almohad Caliphate, a vast empire stretching across North Africa and into Spain. Béjaïa was plugged into the intellectual superhighway of the Islamic Golden Age. When scholars from Cordoba to Cairo were pushing mathematics into new frontiers, Béjaïa, sitting on Algeria's coast, was one of the ports where those ideas came ashore. Here's why that matters. By the 12th century, Muslim scholars had preserved and expanded on the words of Greek, Indian, and Persian thinkers. Mathematics, astronomy, and engineering were actively evolving in a period 2 to 3 centuries before the Renaissance, and maybe most crucially, Arabic numerals, the 0 through 9 number system we use today, was already widespread across the Islamic world. And here's something that's often overlooked. Mathematics in this period wasn't just an abstract concept. It literally shaped the skylines. Take a stroll through modern North African cities, Fez, Algiers, and you see geometry turned into stone. Complex tiling patterns, Macarna's domes, intricate calligraphy. All of it required precise calculations and a deep understanding of ratios and symmetry. Scholars and builders treated the math as both a science and an art. So when young Fibonacci was sitting in classrooms in Béjaïa, he wasn't just learning symbols on a page. He was absorbing culture. That environment left a permanent imprint on how we thought about mathematics, not as a dusty theory, but as a living language that explained the world. So imagine, young Leonardo, a teenager in Béjaïa, surrounded by merchants calculating trade with symbols that weren't Roman numerals. Instead of using long, strung-together letter sequences, they used streamlined digits and a revolutionary placeholder called 0. You can see why this would blow his mind. It's like watching someone ditch a typewriter for a laptop in real time. In all seriousness, though, in those days it really was revolutionary, as simple as it may seem in today's world. In his own words, Fibonacci claimed that his education in Béjaïa came directly from Arab teachers and merchants, not from anyone in Pisa. He didn't just visit as a merchant's son, he absorbed an entirely different way of thinking about numbers. When Fibonacci returned to Pisa, he didn't just bring back a few souvenirs. He carried back the entire Hindu-Arabic number system, a system that Europe hadn't adopted yet. He was like the Marco Polo of mathematics. To put this into perspective, Europe was still balancing ledgers using Roman numerals and tally sticks. Imagine trying to calculate compound interest using this instead of this. It's not just inefficient, it's nearly impossible. Seriously, try doing long division with Roman numerals. I bet you can't. In 1202, Fibonacci wrote the book that would change everything, Liber Abaci, the Book of Calculation, and right from the opening pages, he wasn't subtle. He flat out told his fellow Italians that their number system sucked, and here was something better. Liber Abaci introduced Europe to the place value system, zero, fractions, and efficient methods for doing everyday math like bookkeeping, conversions, and profit calculations. If you were a merchant, banker, or tax collector, this was like upgrading from an abacus to Excel. Of course, what most people know him for today isn't his contribution to modern finance, but the famous Fibonacci sequence. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on and so forth. Each number the sum of the two before. Here's the funny part. Fibonacci didn't even invent this sequence. It had been described centuries earlier in Indian mathematics. What he did do was introduce it to Europe as a part of a math puzzle in his book. The problem? How many rabbits can be produced from a single pair if they breed every month and each pair produces another pair starting the second month? Sounds confusing. Just a hypothetical rabbit farm, and somehow his throwaway exercise became the math equivalent of going viral. Centuries later, artists, architects, and yes, day traders would claim this sequence revealed some universal law of beauty, growth, or stock market behavior. Anything to sell that course. But if you're picturing Fibonacci as some lonely genius jotting down formulas in North Africa, you're sadly mistaken. He was deeply embedded in the world of commerce and politics. In fact, his reputation reached the court of the Holy Roman Emperor, Frederick II. Frederick summoned Fibonacci to discuss mathematics, to the point where his emperor's scholars even tested him with problems. Leonardo's performance impressed them enough that he gained patronage, essentially securing him a lifelong role as Europe's math ambassador. But none of this would have happened without his Algerian education. Béjaïa had equipped him with not just techniques, but a worldview. Mathematics as a practical, flexible tool, not just abstract symbols. That mindset made him a bridge between the Islamic world and medieval Europe. Fibonacci is remembered as the father of modern arithmetic, who brought the modern number system we know and still use today to Europe. Slowly but surely, Europe transitioned from Roman numerals to Arabic numerals. Without that shift, bookkeeping doesn't happen, banking doesn't scale, and Renaissance science doesn't flourish. So now you know, the next time someone tries to sell you their overpriced trading course, you can give them a history lesson on Fibonacci and his Algerian roots. I'll see you in the next video. If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed yourself, so go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe drop a comment with what surprised you most. I've got plenty more deep dives coming up. Next stop is the tiny mountain nation of Andorra. So stick around for that, and I'll see you in the next one.